Hey friend, it is Kate here. Thank you so much for jumping on my channel and joining me for a class today. I have got an absolute beginner Pilates class just for you. This is great for anyone out there who is brand new to Pilates, anyone who needs to go back to the basics. We're going to go slow. We're going to be very controlled. We're going to turn on our tummy muscles in a really deep way. Now that does not mean it's easy. In fact, if you've been with me before, you've probably heard me say that for me, beginner classes are actually much more challenging because we go slow, because I have to be so mindful in my body. Pilates is perfect for those of us that maybe, need to work on building strength from an injury or after pregnancy. No matter where you're at in your day, in your life, I hope you enjoy class today. Roll out your mat and let's get started. We'll start lying on our backs on the mat, and you can just take your time arriving there. Plant your feet into the floor, and at first, hands can really go wherever feels best. We're really going to pay attention to our back at the moment, particularly our lumbar spine. Now, we all naturally, typically speaking, have a curve through the lower portion of our back, but we're going to go through a few pelvic tips. So for me, I think about pressing into my heels and then lightly pressing the small of my back down into the mat, and then I let my low back arch away. Press into the heels, press the small of the back down, and then let that go. Just go ahead and rock in your own pelvis back and forth. Now, as you start to do those little pelvic tips, every time your low back, your lumbar spine, touches the mat, I want you to think of cinching the waist. Now, I don't ever like to say that we suck our tummy in while we're doing Pilates or any kind of movement, but instead it's this feeling of having a belt around the small of your waist that gets one notch tighter each time it comes in. Not only do I think about that belt getting one notch tighter, I just begin to engage those low belly muscles a little bit more as I press my low back into the mat. Now that feeling of lightly pressing the low back into the mat is what we call an imprinted spine in our Pilates class. So if you hear other instructors say that, that's what we're talking about. The next time that we press the small of our back down into the mat, pause. Feel your low back touch the mat, and in your mind's eye, follow your spine up your back to the place between your shoulder blades. It's really easy for us to cave in here, but I want you to open up across the chest and just point your little nose straight up to the sky. Have you forgotten about that feeling of cinching the waist, of encouraging those big belly muscles to kind of come to the middle of the body? Still press down into your heels. Now notice, are your knees knocking together or falling away? We want them pointing in the same direction as your knees. Sometimes if you have a block or a little ball at home, you can put that between your inner thighs and give it a gentle squeeze so you can encourage those inner thighs to turn on, or you can just think about that. It could be a visual cue to engage those inner thigh muscles. Now in Pilates, it might not look like we're always doing a lot, but every move, every pose we come to, we want to be fully engaged. So even as I'm lying right here, it might just look like I'm relaxing, but I am pressing into my heels. I am squeezing that imaginary ball I was just talking about. I am still imprinting my spine and drawing my ribs in, while at the same time opening up across my chest. So a lot is happening. We can think about our upper body as well. Maybe you flip the palms, and I like to have my hands not quite right at my hips, but a little bit away from my body to continue to encourage my shoulders to stay nice and open. I press down into the ground with both palms. I roll my shoulders back and feel my shoulder blades touch the ground beneath me, but at the same time, I'm still cinching the waist. Keep every little bit of your body nice and engaged, except we want to soften our face and neck. It can be very easy in our class to tense up there. You can always nod the head, you can smile a little bit. I always encourage that to keep ourselves cheerful and, again, our face and jaw relaxed. But from here, all I want you to do is take a big, deep inhale. Exhale, cinch the waist a little more. And now from here, inhale, tip your pelvis away from the ground, and slowly start to lift your hips up. Now, this isn't a big hip thrust. We're not going for just shooting our hips up to the sky. We're kind of moving through the spine slow and steady. Pause when you arrive at the top. What parts of the body are still active? Hopefully, really everything should be. We're still pressing down into our hands and our shoulder blades, our heels. We're still squeezing that imaginary ball or block, cinching the waist. And now I also want you to think about the place where your thigh and your glute connect. If you are new to me, you may not have heard me say it, but the place where your thigh and your glute connect, I call it our thigh butt. Give that thut a little squeeze while you cinch the waist a wee bit more. Take a big inhale. And then from your sternum, slowly roll down. Almost imagine I just put my little finger right at your sternum, poked you there, and you spend each lovely little moment rolling through every single little vertebra. Arrive on the mat, immediately imprint the spine, soften across the chest, big inhale. Exhale, tone the tummy. And then again, press into the heels, one vertebra all the way up. Slow and steady. It's not about fast. This is not a cardio kind of class. It's a very mindful way to move. It can be so beneficial, so healthy, especially if we have, an injury, or maybe we're just building our strength back up. A very safe and supportive way to do that. Squeeze your little foot, tone your little tummy, take a big inhale. Exhale from the sternum, slowly roll down. Let's do that one more time. Press into the heels, the hands, the shoulders. Lift the hips. No hurry, no rush. Pause when you arrive center. Squeeze your thut. Broaden across the chest. Point the nose up to the sky like your little Pinocchio. Take a big inhale. And then gently roll yourself all the way down. Now, once you arrive on the mat, remember, we are not relaxing. Keep everything nice and engaged. I'm still pressing down into my hands and into both of my heels without lifting my toe. From here, I want you to take a big sip of air in. As you exhale, tone the tummy a little bit more. One more big inhale, just like that. Now this time, as you exhale, lift up your right leg. I press deeper into my left foot to stabilize the left thigh, the left knee, so it doesn't wiggle wobble. I think about rolling my right shoulder a little further back so I know that it's not going to lift up. And then from here, take a big inhale, set the foot down, immediately stomp into the ground with the foot on the floor and lift your opposite leg up. So even though it looks almost as if the left leg is doing a whole lot of work, which of course it is to lift itself up, but I'm still pressing into the mat with my right leg. I am rolling my left shoulder open to keep my chest nice and broad. I'm relaxing the face and neck. Take a big inhale, big breath out. Set your left foot down. We're going to walk side to side a little bit faster. As soon as your foot hits the floor, stomp into it, engage that leg, lift your opposite. Inhale, foot comes down. Exhale, tone the tummy, lift. Inhale, foot comes down. Exhale, tone the tummy, lift. Every time you lift the foot up, think about cinching the waist, broadening across the chest, drawing your ribs towards one another. Now, is there tension through your face, through your neck? Can you smile a little bit? Can you let that tension just melt away? Beautiful job, my friends. The next time that we go to lift our right leg up, I want you to keep it there. Have you forgotten about pressing down into the mat with both of the palms and your shoulders so our back, our arms, our whole upper body stays nice and active? Can you still imprint the spine, toning the tummy muscle, drawing those low belly muscles in? And then from here, toe can be pointed, flexed, or soft. But I want us to try and reach our foot up to the sky. Whether you straighten it all the way, it's okay. But we're going to reach our foot up and then bend the knee. Press down into the left foot, reach your toe up, bend the knee. 2 more times, press and lift, reach it up. Last one, lift and pause. Now from here, let's go ahead and flex and point a couple of times, just getting some mobility through your ankle and seeing if you can imagine extending that leg a little bit higher while you're still softening the small of the back down. No hurry, no rush whatsoever. Eventually, set that foot on the ground. Take a big sip of air in as you do. Exhale, pick up the other leg. Stomp it down into the right, and then we'll straighten and bend the other side. No hurry, no rush whatsoever. Shoulders down, chest soft, face relaxed, but at the same time, our arms, our legs, especially our tummy muscles are nice and engaged, keeping our body so still so we can exclusively move through the knee. Now lift that foot up, pause, and we can flex and point. Big or small, fast or slow. Take it at your own pace. Maybe getting a little stretch to the back of the leg as you flex that foot. And then slowly set your leg down. From here, actively stomp into both of your feet, cinch the waist, and lift your fingertips up. Now from here, all I want us to do is take our left hand behind our head. Think about softening your right shoulder down, cinching the waist, drawing the ribs together, but at the same time poking your left elbow away from the body. At first, all I want us to do is keep our body nice and engaged, and then exhale, press your hand down by your hip. Inhale, float the fingertips up. Exhale, press the hand down by your hip. Inhale, float the fingertips up. Now, every time I bring my hand down, I think about reaching longer through my fingers, keeping, my shoulders nice and low across my body, open. And then eventually, this next time, not only do I want your hand to press down, I want your head and chest to curl up. Now pause right there. We're not going to lift and lower the head because instead I want us to concentrate on this little lifted feeling. If it's too much to only have one hand there, you can take the other hand behind you. But whenever we're in a folded position here in our Pilates class, I want you to press down deeply into both of your feet. Keep squeezing that imaginary ball or block between your legs. Hollow the tummy, and it's almost like I chopped you at your sternum and forced your head and chest to lift up while the small of the back stays down. Now again, holding here might be enough for us, and if so, just pause. Maybe you need to set yourself down and that's okay. But from here, can you inhale, lift your hand up to about knee height? Exhale, cinch the waist as you press it down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, press down. 2 more, lift up. Exhale, press down. Last one, lift up. Exhale, press down, pause. Take a big inhale, take a big smile, and then let yourself go. Reach those fingertips up to the sky. Unravel both hands and take a little stretch. If it feels better to arch the back just a tiny bit, that's okay. I still find it feels good to imprint my spine, press down into my heels. As I take a stretch, I get more of a lengthening through that lumbar spine when I do that. But eventually, we'll bring ourselves back to our starting place. Fingers over the shoulders, down the back, press down into your heels, squeeze your imaginary ball or block, or if you've got a real one, cinch the waist, and we'll take our opposite hand behind us. Now remember, we want to let that elbow fall away from us, not pull it into our side or into our head. Big deep inhale. Exhale, cinch the waist as you press the hand down. Now, not only am I reaching long through my fingers, using my abdominal muscles to start and kind of finish my hand movement, I think that I am moving through peanut butter. It's hard for me to lift and lower the hand. We want to keep it smooth and steady as we go up and down. Now, as you feel ready, this next time, press the hand down, curl the head and chest up. Once more, we want to keep space between chin and chest, our elbow nice and open. It's that chop from the sternum to fold up. I think about looking right above the horizon of my knees, not up at the sky because we often jut our chin forward there, and not at the belly button or thighs because then we dip our chin down, but just right above them. Now again, we can pause and that might be enough. We can think of our belt getting tighter, our heels pressing down, squeezing our imaginary ball, or we can do our little arm lift. Inhale, hand goes up. Exhale, push through the peanut butter, bring it down. Inhale, hand goes up. Exhale, push it down. 3 more, little lift. Exhale, little lower. 2 more, little lift. Exhale, little lower. Last one up. Exhale, down, pause, take a breath. And release. Both hands over the head. Imprint the spine, reach the fingertips nice and far away. And then this time, if we want to, we'll try both hands away from the head. If that's too much for us today, that is a-okay. No big deal whatsoever. Shoulders open, ribs together, tummy pulling in. Take a breath. Big exhale, curl the head and chest up. Now again, it's a chop, it's a broaden, it's a fold. And then we can pause, or we can do both hands together. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, cinch the waist, curl a little bit more. Beautiful. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, tone the tummy, press it down. 3 more little lift. Exhale, press it down. 2 more little lift. Exhale, press it down. Last one, little up. Exhale, press it down, pause. Fold maybe half an inch higher. Take 1 more big breath in. Smile, we love Pilates. And let it go. Hands over the head. Maybe windshield wiper the knees a little bit if that feels nice. And then we're going to do 1 more set of our bridge pose. Hands lightly away from our body, shoulders back, imprint the spine, draw the ribs in, and then inhale, lift the hips up, finding your bridge. Just like we did at the beginning of class, squeeze the spot where your thigh and your glute connect, trim the waist like your belt got 1 notch tighter. Press down into your hands, press down into your shoulders. This is not like a yoga bridge where we try and like puff our chest up and get a stretch across. Instead, it's 1 long line from your hips to your knees to your shoulders. A lovely little diagonal line. Squeeze the thought a little bit more. Take 1 more big, deep inhale. Exhale, roll all the way down to the ground. Now let's go ahead and cross our right leg over our left, opening that knee off to the side. This might be enough for us, and you can absolutely stay there. I am still thinking about imprinting the spine and reaching my hands overhead. For me, the more I think about my inner right thigh kind of moving away from the midline of my body and then growing long out the right side, the bigger of a stretch I personally feel. And often when we do single leg lifts like we were doing earlier, even if we're not fully extending the leg, you can feel a little bit of tension through the front of our psoas. And so doing a small figure 4 can be, really beneficial. You can let that go, and maybe if we have it in our range of motion, you can thread the hand underneath. Now, I do recommend, though, only bringing the hands underneath if you don't have to curl yourself up here. We're not doing ourselves any favor by folding into a great big ball. Instead, keeping the spine touching the mat, shoulders nice and open, whether or not you can touch the leg, you're going to get deeper into the body. If you can pull your left thigh a little closer to your chest, maybe sway side to side, and then unravel. Same thing other side. Start by finding that figure 4, allowing your thigh to reach open, taking your hands overhead. I'm still imprinting the spine. Remember, that means to press the small of the back down, reaching my fingertips overhead, wiggling around a little bit if that feels good, maybe growing longer out the left arm. And then pulling my leg into my chest. Remember, you only bring that leg up and thread the hands underneath if you can keep your shoulders on the ground and your spine so long and straight. None of this. Keep those shoulders open. I personally find if I flex both of my feet and kind of almost imagine my heel doing the work, pulling my knee in rather than my thigh, I get a little deeper into my glute, into my hips. You can sway side to side. And then unravel. Take both hands overhead and feet away. Maybe wiggle out the toes and the fingers. Roll to one side. Push yourself up to a seat. And give yourself a pat on the back. Thank yourself for doing something so good and just for you. I hope we enjoyed class, and I cannot wait to see you again.